I'm a CEO and founder of Endurance Robots. My presentation will be in English. Hopefully you're all comfortable with it, with this language. I'm going to talk about future of modern technologies, robotics, AI, and a little bit about chatbots. So I'm pretty positive that everyone in this auditorium and came to Maker Faire is pretty much keen on the idea of developing technologies and making our life easier and better. That's what all technologies are about. But Raymond Kurzweil said that fire helps us to get warm and to cook meat, but also it has another part of the coin. It can burn our home, our house. So what is the good news and bad news? Good news is that technologies really help to improve life quality. For example, I was traveling from Smolensk, it's a city near Moscow here, to Berlin in a train. You know what, it's like 22 hours train, but it's very, very comfortable. If we take a look back in like early century, previous century, then people didn't have that comfort, right? So people had to probably travel for like 1 week or even more to get from, let's say, from Moscow to Berlin, and now we have it. I mean, anyone can have it right now. So the bad thing is shift in labor market. So Gartner predicts that 30% of all current jobs will be removed, so we'll not have these jobs anymore. Also, there is another research by McKinsey that by 2030, 375 million jobs will be away. So it means that people like investment analysts, traders, lawyers, accountant, they could probably face a problem in the next 5-10 years because that job can be automated. It could be simply replaced by computing, smart computing. It's where actually speculating starts. Many people think nowadays that artificial intelligence already exists. In my opinion, and I also follow the opinion of Ray Kurzweil, that we have an attempt of weak artificial intelligence. I call it smart computing. When you have algorithms, for example, for predicting something, it's not really intelligence, but when you have a black box, you have some data, it's calculating and gives you some result, many people think, okay, this is artificial intelligence because we don't know the result. Well, but in fact it was trained somehow based on the data, so it's really doesn't. And the problem is to understand what is really intelligence, what is consciousness, how we can actually find, okay, if Uber car has consciousness or intelligence, I mean, still if it drives the route and it has some obstacle to drive around, you probably already know that it will go or right or left. A person while driving can simply stop because he just feels uncertain that he has to drive this way, or he changes his mind. I think Uber car does not have this option. It'll go either right or left, so it has no other variance than to avoid an obstacle and go next. So like I said, a problem with a labor market will face a lot of people. You know, in this conference, in this community, I think many of you already understand this, or at least you're ready for this shift. But when you go for like politics meetings or where politicians, they say, okay, we need to take care of these people, what's going to happen to them? I mean, it's complete disaster if people start losing their jobs. I have an answer for this. So you need to do two things: upskill or reskill those people. For example, there are some areas, some sectors where robots cannot be as successful and as useful as humans. For example, in different types of research where you need more complicated view on a problem. for example, you need to invent new type of alloy, right? Of course, computer can help you with finding which alloy, how you need to mix different metals together. But in some cases, humans have more creativity to imagine, okay, we never tried this, why don't we just make a try to explore another field? Computer cannot do this without having some specific algorithm that is, like I said, already pre-programmed. What's really concerning and quite difficult to understand that in the next decade, maybe 20 years, we would have to compete with computers. Right? We compete right now with each other. So for example, we go to get a job, 10 of us, and only one will get a job, so we compete with each other. Maybe in the next just 10, 20 years, we'll compete with a computer. Like a person, HR manager would think, okay, I'm going to hire one sales representative. What if I just simply run a chatbot and spend like 10 days or 30 days training chatbot, answering typical questions? Because I mean, the real intelligence level of people who are working on sales representative or customer support level, they're quite low. They have instruction, they have manuals. If you ask something out of this, they just don't know. They say, okay, I don't know the answer. I mean, if you ever try to get support like for online banking and bank just blocked your card and you're calling like 2 a.m., more likely, if it's not in their procedures, you will not get the answer. They'll say, okay, call back in a normal time or just go to your branch. And that's pretty much what happens to chatbots. They can actually reply in the way they were trained, based on some information, based on knowledge they used. I see actually a big progress right now, starting from 2000, maybe 15, 17, where we have more and more intelligent systems coming into our daily life, and that's how you can see, global internet trading is happening. I mean, right now people, I was actually trading on stock market, and I know that like 99% of different tradings, they were just algorithm trades, and we just do not even understand this. I actually remember the day when it was called flash crash on Dow Jones, where the market just dropped 1,000 points and then it's restored because some problem. There was a lot of speculations about that. Maybe it was like on purpose, we don't know. It's like always you can speculate on these topics, but anyway, these things are already here. Global trading is like in hands of computers and like supercomputers that do these. I've been to New York, and I know that to rent a space just closer to New York Stock Exchange costs $100,000 because they have no delay to transmit this data. It's like almost in the server room where New York Stock Exchange. That's why people, they compete for micro, nanoseconds, to get these trades, bids instantaneously. So I believe that by maybe 2030, 2040, we'll have a dramatic shift in our life when computers and smart intelligence system will be doing a lot of job. Why it is so? We actually try to save time with computers, with all kind of communications. For example, all people have smartphones with us, right? So we talk to each other, we exchange ideas. Some of my friends and even my family say, well, we were fine without cell phones like 20, 50 years ago, but the speed of life was completely different. I mean, you could make a decision that like yesterday, people just met in like days or years without a constant approving. Okay, shall we meet tomorrow, or in 5 minutes over there? So people right now chatting, they want very quick information. They needed complete different type of understanding where they are and how we can communicate. The thing is that Raymond Kurzweil said, I'm sorry, I've just followed these guys recently, and I think that this guy actually knows more about future than I did, so I follow some of his ideas, that soon enough we will be half humans, half hybrids. That's actually happening right now when we have cell phones. They're just simply not implemented into our body. But if you just take a look at the nearest future, so Google, they are exploring the way how they can inject microchips into body, so they can track and they get your information about your blood pressure, about your health, etc. Many people say, why? Maybe it's not safe. Government or big companies, they want to get these data to use it against us. Well, maybe, but it is a way to increase our competitiveness level, because then we can do much faster, much better. And I do believe that this implementing in the next maybe 10, 20 years, when we have these microchips or something, will help us to do more things at a certain period of time. For example, I saw the project that helps to calculate exact time when you should go to bed and wake up. So they made these calculations based on your biological rhythms. Well, some of you might say, well, I don't need it, but some people say, oh, that's a good idea, because I will sleep the exact amount of time that my body needs. So I do go to gym every day, and to calculate exact amount, how much food do you have to eat, is a really big problem just for me, because if you want to lose weight, you should to work out a little bit more and lose a little bit more energy than you get. But how can you compare? How can you get these data? I mean, otherwise you'll be very tired, because you just simply lose too much energy and you didn't have enough food, or you'll gain fat. With this case, for example, these small chips or something that is inserted will help me just in the best way to say, no, you don't need to eat this piece of sugar or this piece of chocolate, because you are targeting losing weight, etc. So this will help us to do things in a better way. It's also my opinion, so I'm not forcing you to follow it, but I have a feeling that robots, and we are forerunners of robots. So robots sooner or later will come. They will stay with us. Like you have cars. Okay, we will have short enough of time. We'll have self-driven cars. We'll have more and more units with us that are already automated, and they are driven by, let's say, weak or standard. I don't believe that will create strong artificial intelligence in the nearest future. But in some cases, I feel that humans as species, we have some fundamental problems that are pretty hard to overcome. So we have like fear, anger, aggression, retaliation, a lot of things that stops us for further improvement of our life. I mean, every like 20, 30, 100 years, we repeat the same or another mistakes, but based on the same psychological problems that people had like 1,000, 10,000 years ago. It's just something that we do not upgrade. When we have new child, that he already born with a new knowledge, a new experience. So all people, they are born in the same, with the same clean program, and it's pretty hard to follow. What I do think about AI, that still we do not have AI right now, and it's a good opportunity. It's a good way to explore this field, because there could be different ways of AI amplification, because then you can actually do it for like trading, for self-driven cars, for cooking. So things where these robotics and automated things could change our life. Really a lot of ways of making this. In these terms, I believe that once humans create something new, like artificial intelligence or more smart machines, we would look like gods. It means that once we created something, because we know, or we've heard from Bible or from religion, religious people that say that God created us, okay, we can accept this. But once human people create something like artificial intelligence, then in this case I do believe that we can say, okay, people became gods because we created something that has never been before. So we made it, we created this, and that could really change the way of future and future global understanding. So that was my very brief overview, my brief views. They are like quite maybe quite new to some of you. Maybe I repeated something that you already knew, but I'm always open for any comments, questions, and let's spend another 5-7 minutes on questions and answers, and maybe a small discussion, if you will. So.
You told us about this project, which is measuring or giving you the best time for going to bed.
Yeah, I
the name?
Yeah, they have it. Okay, they have it like a bracelet or something, and they measure different parameters, and they tell, okay, now it's the good time for you to sleep, because they say, okay, you have lower blood pressure, your heart rate decreases somehow, and then while you sleep, they measure also these biorhythmical things. When they say, okay, now it's time to wake up, because you have like a spot between like short dream or fast dream. I'm not very much in this space, but I've heard, and it sounds pretty reasonable to me, because when I wake up, for example, at 5 a.m. in the morning, I say, well, maybe I need to wake up, and then I say, oh, okay, I'll sleep for another hour. But then when I wake up, and after that hour, I feel not as good as I was when I was like 5 a.m. So that's actually, it could be reasonable. I mean, you need to follow some research, because it should be some basis on that why they made these predictions.
Do you know the name of the project?
No, I don't think so. But I'm sure you can Google. It could be more than one, because it's I've seen it in CES in Las Vegas 2015. So I'm pretty positive that there should be something, or they closed, I don't know. It's like startup business, you never know if they're still on the market, but you can check it out. It's something called like biorhythmical dream or night dream measurement mechanism, something like that.
Thank you.
Any more questions? Yes.
I think you made a very good picture at the beginning with fire. It's a good and bad side. And for AI, I think we probably have more on the bad side, because the development is so fast, and with the workforce, the worth of human life is for a lot of people what they can earn with work. This is a problematic view, of course, but I think this is how it works in the society. And with AI we have a major problem with the way the society works. And because it's so fast, we cannot adapt. And I fear a lot of problems, major problems with this AI. So it's not like better communication or better ways to go to some place. It's much deeper in the foundation of the society, and this is a big problem for us in the near future.
Yeah, you're absolutely right, because people, first point, people believe only in what they want to believe. That's the first point. And the second point, that people, most of people, they are very, very conservative, right? Any unstable, unknown, uncertain things scares us. It's how it works. I have actually an explanation for this. It's very, very rare information. You wouldn't probably find it anywhere else. But the thing is, when your neurons, they make decision. Okay, you remember something. So your neuron is already have connection. So when you want to build a new knowledge, for example, you have a new weather forecast and you're not ready for this. So the old neuron connection has to be destroyed. And the power you need to destroy this neuron connection much more than you need to build a new connection. That's why in these medical bases, why people do not like or accept new information, because breaking already existing knowledge requires a lot of energy. A lot of energy for your brains means a lot of sugar. You need to eat like 1 plate of chocolate to start thinking better, because your brains, they consume sugar a lot, and it consumes almost all energy of your body, and it requires a lot of power. That is a problem, because people, say, oh, that's new, I don't want to learn it. And they stay, they even, when I start learning something in my business and I get new information, I do not accept it instantaneously. I just, okay, I've heard it. Okay, let me see if I hear it again. Okay, I heard it again and again, and then I start. Okay, let me rethink. Let me start doing another way. But it's always difficult. So this is just my feeling. Yes.
You can publish the example from the human car make a decision between going to the right or to the left. What do you think, where does AI start and smart programming just stops? So where's the
the thing is why the thing is why you want to stop, because you feel something. You have another level of understanding, because then you just stop because you changed your mind, right? And it's not programmed in your Uber self-driven. It knows that it has to bring you from point A from point A to point B, and it follows the rule because it's already made for this rule. It's not made for, okay, you're driving and then it stops, and then you say, well, what the hell? I need to go to the airport. My flight is like in 2 hours, but the car stopped. I think that most people wouldn't really appreciate it, because we still believe that computers and these smart machines would be our slaves, let's put it this way. So you think that all these will help us. It could be, but it could be not, because if it's intelligence, then it could say, okay, I just don't want to do it. Why should I? I don't feel like I want to I drive you to airport. I mean, I could, but it's like, asking your friend. He has time. He's playing Warcraft or Dota, I don't know what. And okay, bring me to airport. And he said, well, I'm playing a game. He just doesn't want to. All right, he's not busy. I mean, you cannot say they're busy, but it's probably the same could happen with computers, when you would need to persuade the computer, if it's intelligent system, that you want to go, and it's important, and it's win-win strategy, right? So say, okay, you drive me there, and you'll gain some power because it's sunny weather and you have solar panels. Okay, it's good for you and for me, so let's do it. Says, okay, deal. It's completely different, but for computers and for these systems, it would be quite obvious. If it's sunny weather, it's driving. If it's not, it's like playing chess, right? Because I'm not big, chess player, but what I've heard, that last results show that computers are better in terms of timing, in terms of making. Of course, you can find someone who is really brilliant, 1 out of million or billion people who can beat computer. But nowadays, it's like lost technology, when we already understand that computers play much better, because they can change and check all possible variants instantaneously. I do believe that this thing will dramatically be changed after quantum computers, because then when you have this time for calculating something right now on regular computers, you have 0 and 1, and you need time to change position on your transistor from 0 to 1. But on quantum computers, it's all together. It's qubit. It's the same time. You don't have this problem with. It's another topic probably to talk about quantum computers. But the idea to bring these qubits that you have no time for making calculations. Of course, you have a problem once you get these data out of qubit. You cannot check other variants, because then you already influence the result. It's how qubits are working. So once you get this information from quantum computer, you cannot check the other statuses. So you already broken this fragile system. It's new way, new understanding. I'm not good at it, but what I've heard, it's very close to what I said. Yes.
I think there's no good definition for intelligence or conscience. So you cannot say when the AI reach human intelligence, but I think the point where it gets really messy with our society and how it makes the human life or change the human life, it's much before this point when the AI is something like a human intelligence. So there's different questions, and the problem for us is much before in time.
I do agree. That's a big question where people, speculate, and we do not have very strong and final definition. That's where it should probably start at the beginning, though. Because in many magazines, in many newsletters and newspapers, you already can read that okay, we have artificial intelligence, and people, working in business, they come to our company and say, hey, we want a smart machine, want that we have something input and we want to have some certain output. And they said, oh, no, it's not how it's working. And they said, well, we read an article or like on GitHub or somewhere, so they are misread or misled with this wrong information. Yeah, I think we have to be careful with time because now next speaker is coming. I thank you everyone for coming, and please, if you have any questions, just text me or join our community on Endurance Lasers. We're here down the booth. You can see what we're doing. Okay. Thank you.